Ladies and gentlemen, it's a big, weird, wild world out there, folks, and here we stand. Al pie del cañón, ready for anything. I'm Rob, and you're listening to
The ProBoh Show!
Good morning out there, friends. How you doing? It's a Friday edition of the ProBoh Show. That is, unless, of course, you're listening to this on Monday morning. Wop, wop, wow. But for those of us listening live right now, it is Friday. Congratulations, friends. Can you smell that? Can you smell that? It smells like freedom. We did it. Or as we are wont to say,
it's Friday!
Oh, yeah. Oh, we made it, friends. And I have 2 days off, Monday and Tuesday. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Should we see who's joining us live right now? I think we probably should. We have immediately in the chat, in our live audience, we have Miss Sasha Hayes. How you doing? She's diving in and out of this stream as well as her kids' learning show. So that's nice. Nice of you to join us, Sasha, all the way from Australia. Good day, mate. We have the bridge. Hello, I can actually see you today. Good. Just before we went live, I was talking to our friends here in the audience. Many of you here, by the way, not a lot of you writing. What's going on with that? The show is actually really... So our number one audience is in the US. How are you doing, US people? Welcome. Thank you for listening. Love you guys. Number two audience in Spain. Hola. Os quiero mucho. I love you a lot. And the number three audience, believe it or not, is Japan. Ole! Japan, then Singapore. Why have I come all there? I am English. You do know that, because Bridge offered the hypothesis that we're big in Japan because everything Spanish is popular in Japan. Japan loves everything Spanish. Does that mean I'm Spanish now?
That gets the ProBoh stamp of approval.
Someone send Pedro Sanchez an email. I want my citizenship. I want it now. Come on. Anyway, so thank you, listeners in Japan and Singapore. Love you a lot. I need to know how to say that in Japanese. I'm being mouthed the words, I think, by Sophie, but I can't hear her because of my big headphones. Anyway, we truly got over the hump, as Bridge says, and we are careening downhill towards the weekend. I'm having a much-needed mental break from social media, so I can't shout out the stream at the moment, says Sasha. Yeah, because, I have shockingly few listeners in Australia, Sasha, and it's your responsibility as the bohemian out there to get us popular, get us some listeners. But I do approve of yes, much-needed mental break from social media. I think we should all be doing that more often. Anyway, we have Mike in the chat. Good morning, dear Bohemians. Even though Count Binface has lost, it's Friday. Oh, yeah. Konnichiwa. To all the Japanese listeners. That was what Sophie was saying. Konnichiwa, Japanese listeners. We love you. Bridge says, truly got over the hump. Sasha, happy Friday afternoon, 4:35 p.m. here, says Sasha. Yeah, obviously, Sasha, living in the future. Rob, necesitas un abanico y una peineta. Abanico, what's an abanico? Isn't an abanico fan? I don't know. I promote you just as much as you promote Australian Survivor, which is a lot, to be honest, isn't it? It's not even the only Australian reality TV show I'm watching right now. It's not. Do you want to know the second one? I've kicked my Married at First Sight habit. And I'm now on Alone Australia, the survival reality TV show. Oh my God, so good. And the Australians are so great. Anyway. All right, should we see what's coming up in today's show? Today we're talking about purpose and meaning. Which is more important? Is it purpose, happiness? Which is most important? Does purpose and meaning, is it more important than happiness for your psychological well-being? Tener un propósito es más importante que la felicidad para el bienestar psicológico. That's today's unpopular opinion. And our 100 humans, we asked them to name something that gives life meaning. Obviously, that's going to be different for everyone, isn't it? For me, it's Australian reality TV. For you, it's probably something else, isn't it? Probably. I don't know. I don't watch any Australian TV shows, says Sasha. Oh, dude, you guys make the best reality TV. You should play Australian hip-hop. That's another thing that I'm a massive fan of. But did I miss the boat here? Should I be Australian? And here's me trying to become Spanish. Maybe I should be Australian. I'm a big fan of your guys' media. Australian hip-hop is the best. Hilltop Hoods for life. Anyway, that's an Australian hip-hop outfit. Anyway, should we actually get into the show? Sorry, listen to me. I'm just here chit-chatting with my wonderful audience. A lot of you in today, by the way. Thank you. So, if you want to join our audience, if you want to be as cool, as sexy, as charming, as handsome, as influential, as impactful as our live audience, you can join us at twitch.tv/professional bohemian. That's twitch.tv/bohemio profesional, pero en inglés. Of course, if you want to interact with the show outside of our lifetimes, you do that on my Instagram, which is @bohemioprofesional, pero en inglés. And of course, if you are extra specially cool, sexy, charming, handsome, well, you can join me on my Patreon, where you get access to all the VODs and all sorts of interesting stuff, original series that have not been published anywhere. And that's all ready for you at my Patreon, which is patreon.com/professional bohemian. All right, let's see what's coming up in some news today. I feel like Sasha, I feel like if I know my purpose in life, being a mother and a partner, then my happiness is my personal priority to help my mental health. Interesting. Well, we'll get into more of that later, shall we? All right, in the news today, it's Friday. I do like to do a little bit of lighter news on a Friday. So let's talk about one of my favorite subjects, doggies. Oh, the perfect creatures. Oh my God. Who doesn't love dogs? Come on. I know the few people out there may have some kind of a fear of dogs because of an experience at childhood, but I think the vast majority of us love dogs. We don't deserve dogs, we humans. But you might think we're going to talk about South Korea finally banning dog meat. We're not talking about that. We're talking about MRI scans, las resonancias magnéticas. MRI scans now show that dogs can tell human expressions apart. Las resonancias magnéticas muestran que los perros pueden distinguir las expresiones humanas. Yeah, I mean, if you're a dog owner, I don't think this is going to come as any surprise to you. I mean, I've had many dogs in my life. From childhood, I was raised with animals. And that's not to say like Romulus and Remus, I was raised by animals. I was raised with animals, right? I wasn't raised by wolves. But I was raised with family dogs, 2 or 3 of them. And then as an adult, the first thing I did when I possibly could was adopt a dog. And then here now in Spain, I adopted 2 doggies, Summer and Buddy. The regular viewers to the stream will know them very well. So I love dogs. And if you own a dog, you know that your dog can tell what you're thinking just by looking at your face, right? You can tell if you're happy, if you're sad, if you're angry, just by looking at your face. At least my dogs can. Or at least I project that understanding upon them. Is that the case? Well, let's dig in. Dogs may be able to read human emotions more deeply than scientists once thought. A new MRI study found that trained pet dogs showed different brain activity when looking at human faces expressing happiness, fear, anger, and sadness, with smiling faces activating reward-related regions such as the caudate nucleus. I don't think we need to know the brain structures. All we need to know is that dogs are apparently have a more acute understanding of human emotion than we may have thought, or that scientists thought. I think dog owners always knew this. Researchers say the findings suggest dogs do not just react to people as generally good or bad, but may distinguish between specific expressions, especially negative ones like fear versus anger. The study was limited to family dogs and static photos, so it does not prove how dogs interpret emotions in real life, where body language, voice, smell, and context also matter. I would suggest here that only with added context of, body language, voice, smell, and other contextual clues, that they're even better at identifying our emotions, right? Still, it reinforces the idea that being expressive, calm, and positive around dogs may help them understand us better. Oh. If you're a dog lover, I don't think this comes as any surprise. And I often kind of get a pang of sadness around people who don't really like or connect with dogs. We have a very unique relationship, don't we, with dogs? I mean, in human history, going back eons, we in many ways evolved alongside dogs, or at least civilization evolved alongside dogs. When I say that, I mean when we were hunter-gatherers, we worked alongside packs of wolves to hunt. And it was a symbiotic relationship. Then later, domestication, we used them to protect crops and livestock, until eventually now they've become just our partners in crime in life in general. And I echo what Mike says here. He says, if only dogs lived longer, amen.
ProBoh approved.
Yeah, in many ways, we don't deserve the beauty and sophistication of our beautiful dogs. We can learn a lot from them, I think. Anyway, let's do one more piece of news as it pertains to privacy. Many of you know, maybe many of you don't. About 10 years ago, I was involved in the You Own the Internet YOTIC, the You Own the Internet project, which was a internet privacy campaign. So anything that touches on internet privacy rings alarm bells for me. So let's dig into this because it actually pertains to this live show. Twitch is now using your content to train Amazon AI models and has hidden the option to opt out. Twitch está usando ahora tu contenido para entrenar modelos de IA de Amazon y ha ocultado la opción para no participar. Twitch is facing a backlash after it emerged that the platform appears to be using streamer content, including live streams, VODs, clips, chats, images, and text, to help train AI models by default. Users can opt out, but the setting is buried in the account security menu rather than being presented clearly up front. Why am I telling you this? Because if you, like me, are privacy conscious, I want you to opt out. So it is in your account security menu. And if you're a Twitch user and even don't listen to or watch this show live, I would encourage you to do so. I know we have a very different views on privacy, as this show has attested to when we've touched on privacy as a topic. Some people think, well, it's no big deal. Others, like me, think it's an inalienable human right to have privacy. So the option's there for you. Twitch also says that opting out doesn't disable AI features on the platform, such as auto-commenting, ad selection, or chat moderation tools. The company defended the approach in a live stream where Chief Product Officer Mike Minton said the setting is opt-out because, in his words, if it were opt-in, nobody would opt in. Mike, doesn't that tell you something? Doesn't that just tell you something? That perhaps nobody wants you to be scraping all their data and using it to train your AI tools, maybe? I don't know. Twitch's head of community, Mary Kish, said the platform uses AI widely and that Twitch cannot function without some forms of it. The article argues that the change looks deliberately hard to notice, and it raises concerns about consent, transparency, and how much creator content Amazon may keep using as it expands AI efforts. So there you go, guys. In your account security menu, you can turn off AI scraping. But on that note, friends, it's time for an unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion.
Okay, unpopular opinion time. Time for today's brain fart, today's pedocerebral, pedomental. It is: purpose is more important than happiness for psychological well-being. Purpose is more important than happiness for psychological well-being. Tener un propósito es más importante que la felicidad para bienestar psicológico. What do you think? It's an interesting one today for many reasons. I'm not going to wax lyrical about those reasons right now. We're going to go straight to the results of the poll on Instagram. Quite revealing in the fact that people don't really seem to know. Because only 56% of people voted true today, which is interesting and good because it means we can take a very neutral stance on today's argument. Usually when it's heavily weighted in one area, I tend to argue the opposite. So let's dig in. I mean, what is this argument really about? I mean, I guess, one model treats well-being as primarily as a desirable inner state, contentment, right? And that purpose is only valuable as feeding that contentment. But the other side might say, well, purpose is where, when happiness fails, purpose is what remains, what keeps you plugging on, what keeps you motivated and focused. Perhaps purpose has a stronger part to play than happiness ever did. Anyway, let's dig in. Let's get into the pro column because narrowly the pro argument won today. So let's get in. 56% of people said or agreed that purpose is more important than happiness for psychological well-being. Okay. Mike here says, you have to do the same with Instagram, otherwise it'll use your photos and videos for AI purposes. Oh my God. Mark Zuckerberg, go back to whatever planet you're from. Someone take the batteries out of him, would you? Anyway, so happiness is unstable and purpose is directional. Happiness changes with circumstances, mood, health, relationships, and luck. Purpose can remain intact even during painful periods because it gives a person reason to keep moving when life does not feel good. Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that, right? It is much more stable. It's a much more stable anchor than happiness. Not to say happiness isn't important at all, but is a stable anchor if your life has purpose. Purpose makes hardship easier to endure. Difficult experiences feel different when they are connected to something a person considers worthwhile. Raising children, caring for someone, building a career, creating art, or pursuing a cause can involve frustration and sacrifice while still contributing to a deeply satisfying life. Like, what is your life purpose? And I'm sure that very purpose occasionally causes you extreme amounts of stress, right? But it keeps you focused, keeps you motivated. Even when times get tough, that purpose still remains. Chasing happiness can make happiness harder to achieve. Constantly asking, am I happy, turns emotional life into a performance review. Normal disappointment, boredom, and sadness can begin to feel like evidence that something is wrong. Purpose shifts attention away from monitoring feelings and towards participating in life. I mean, I guess I should offer some kind of rebuttal to these, right? I mean, paying attention to happiness can reveal genuine problems, can't they? Someone who is persistently unhappy may need to change the circumstances rather than distract themselves with a mission. And I think this is the main compelling argument against purpose, right? Is that purpose can quite often become a distraction from actual, real problems. Also that, people can become trapped by purpose, especially when duty, the idea of duty, makes them feel unable to stop. You owe some kind of duty, some kind of loyalty to your mission or to your purpose or your meaning. I mean, meaning can justify unhealthy sacrifice just as easily as it can sustain healthy perseverance, right? Anyway, let's dig in. More. Point 4 here in the pro column. Purpose provides coherence. People often cope better with difficulty when they can replace their experiences inside a larger story about who they are and what matters to them. Purpose connects individual decisions and sacrifices into something that feels less random. The next point here in the pro column is purpose makes people feel useful. Happiness focuses primarily on how life feels to the individual. Purpose often involves contribution, responsibility, or a need by someone, or to be needed by someone other than yourself, right? A connectiveness. That sense of usefulness can provide a form of well-being that pleasure alone cannot supply. Here we're going back to that topic that we covered earlier on in the show of connectedness, community, and its importance in psychological well-being. I mean, purpose and meaning usually isn't an island, but usually depends on other people. Just like I, as a creator, as a broadcaster, depend on you, my audience, for feedback and your ideas. You know, if this show was just me waxing lyrical into a microphone and camera, it would be painful, not just for you to listen to, but for me to perform. So it's an interesting one, isn't it? I think the main point here is that purpose survives situations that happiness can't. Right? There are periods of grief, illness, failure, or uncertainty in which happiness is really challenged. It's unrealistic. But purpose can still exist in those periods. It can be a North Star. Caring for another person, enduring with dignity, rebuilding, or simply reaching for the next stage, all made possible by the idea of purpose. But that's not the whole picture, is it? Let's get into the cons, where I believe it was 44? Oh no, the vote has changed. Look at that. 47% now of people voted in favor of happiness being more important to psychological well-being. So let's dig in. Well-being includes actually feeling well. A life full of meaning but dominated by anxiety, exhaustion, resentment, or sadness is difficult to call psychologically healthy. Happiness, broadly understood as a positive emotion and life satisfaction, is not a shallow luxury but a part of what well-being means. I mean, yeah. I mean, happiness, what is happiness? Is happiness something to be attained? Or is happiness simply the avoidance of ill feeling? I mean, let's be honest, friends. We don't go on holiday in search of happiness. We go to escape our problems and our routines. And once escaped, we tend to experience moments of joy, right? To put it broadly, purpose can become pressure. Once people believe they must have a greater mission, ordinary life can start to seem inadequate. They may feel guilty for resting, enjoying themselves, or quietly living because every moment must contribute to something meaningful. And there is truth to that. I mean, the rest guilt is an actual phenomenon. People who, when relaxing and doing absolutely nothing, or just fading away into a video game or a book or a TV show, they can feel guilty because they're not being productive. What is that? Well, that's the guilt. That's the guilt that's fomented through a pursuit of purpose, isn't it? Happiness can be valuable without justification. Friendship, laughter, music, food, play, beauty, and relaxation do not need to serve a larger purpose to improve life. Treating meaning as superior can turn simple enjoyment into something intellectually inferior, when it may be one of the strongest reasons life feels worth living. It's a tough one, isn't it, today? Because when I think back to the happiest moments in my life, it probably wasn't enjoying a TV series or a video game. It was when I think one of the happiest moments in my life was when I got my 5-star review at the Edinburgh Fringe. As a novice writer and performer, to get that 5-star review felt immensely validating. But that was a product of purpose rather than happiness, because on that road I experienced extreme moments of stress. But anyway, not to offer too much of a rebuttal, let's continue. Purpose can make exploitation easier. People who derive identity from a mission can tolerate extreme workloads, neglect relationships, or accept mistreatment because the cause feels important. Employers, institutions, and movements can exploit this willingness to sacrifice. To offer some kind of a rebuttal to that, because I do believe in purpose, I think the possibility of exploitation doesn't discredit the purpose itself, does it? It shows that purpose needs boundaries. It shows that purpose needs boundaries. It doesn't show that purpose isn't important. And it should not erase the self-respect attained through a purposeful life. It's a tough one today, guys. So I'm going to ask you, my friends, I'm going to ask you to vote. Again, the vote has shifted on Instagram. 53% only saying true now, but I'm interested in what you, my live audience, has to say. So I'll post a poll in the chat and you guys will tell me. Purpose is more important than happiness for psychological well-being. I'll take a little break and we'll catch up when I get back. Hey guys, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so on Patreon. That's patreon.com/professional bohemian. There you'll find VODs of the episodes as they are recorded live, blogs, vlogs, and behind-the-scenes content. If you'd like to watch the show live, you can do so on twitch.tv/professional bohemian, and you can participate in the polls we use in the show on Instagram @professional bohemian or Twitter @ProBoh, ProBoh. Okay, on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. If you're listening to this on Monday morning, it's now 9 a.m. Central European time, and we are covering the final topic in our week of unpopular opinions with regards to mental health. So let's dive in, shall we? First of all, what did you miss if you just tuned in? We looked at a nice piece of news about our canine friends, or as it's commonly said, man's best friend. I guess nowadays we should probably say people's best friend, the humble canine, the dog. And our MRI scans show dogs can tell human expressions apart. And I don't think that comes as any surprise if you're a dog owner, but the scientific community at large have been surprised by this. That dogs may be able to read human emotions more deeply than scientists once thought. Of course, you can switch back in time, but do a little rewind if you're listening to this live. The podcast is available on all good podcast directories, or indeed you can join me on Patreon and watch the VOD where we spoke about it. And then we looked at how Twitch is now using your content, or has been actually using it for years, your content to train Amazon AI models. And that's not just from streamers like us. I believe it's also text messages in the chat and things like that. And you can opt out of that. It has been a little bit obfuscated by our friends at Twitch. It's been a little bit hidden, but you can find that in the, where is it? In the account security menu, if you're interested in doing that. I know I was upon reading this news. And by the way, that news sent to me by contributor and friend Min the Merciless from the Netherlands. Thank you, Min, for showing me this piece of news. And then we got into today's unpopular opinion. Today's unpopular opinion being that purpose is more important than happiness for psychological well-being. It's a tough one today. Just before the break, I postulated, I said that couldn't we in some ways describe psychological well-being as at least a facet of happiness? I mean, if you were happy, you would describe yourself as, you'd describe your mental health as quite well, right? If you were happy. Well, I'm happy. This is good. But my point here is, what happens when happiness fails? When that feeling of happiness in some way, is challenged? Well, we fall back on purpose, don't we? And if we fall back on purpose, then perhaps purpose has a larger part to play than we might want to admit. You still have 2 minutes left to vote in the chat. It ends in just 1 minute, so I encourage you to do that. let's dig in. Let's dig in. I think the debate is really about what a good life is supposed to feel like, right? And I think, as I mentioned in the first part, one model treats well-being as primarily as a desirable inner state. You know, psychological well-being is, you know, contentment, enjoyment, emotional balance, satisfaction. And from that point of view, purpose is valuable partly because it contributes to that feeling of well-being, to that feeling of satisfaction, balance, enjoyment, you know. But then the other side of that argument is that well-being cannot be reduced to just feeling good, can it? You know, a person may willingly endure stress, grief, frustration, sacrifice because they believe something matters more than their immediate emotional state. Like parenthood is probably the clearest example of this, right? Something that can make life harder while simultaneously, I guess, making it feel more worthwhile. I don't think any parent would argue that having a child is 100% emotional bliss 100% of the time. It makes life a lot harder, especially in these uncertain economic times. But it still gives life meaning, doesn't it? I mean, think of the things that actually give life meaning. Family, children, you know, all can be challenging, or even love or a career. Quite, you know, especially a career is going to cause you an immense amount of stress. Helping others, you know, or any of life's goals are not necessarily going to bring 100% joy 100% of the time. And also worth mentioning that there's a conflict between hedonic and meaning-based ideas of well-being. Like, perhaps the hedonic style, the hedonic argument would be, does my life feel good? Is that the way you treat your psychological well-being, how your life feels? Or do you ask a more meaning-based question, which is, does my life feel like it's worth living? Of course, I think the danger here is making either of those arguments an absolute, right? Happiness without direction can just be restless pleasure seeking, right? But purpose without happiness can become like martyrdom or obsession, and neither one works in isolation. But perhaps, I don't know, maybe psychological well-being depends less on choosing one over the other. Maybe it's about understanding each side's purpose, each side's mixture, or how it mixes and works for you as an individual. I think purpose tells us why we're willing to continue when the quality of that experience is temporarily declines, like in the example of parenthood, right? So it's an interesting one today. Let's dig into a few of your comments. I can see this is challenging because I know how many people are watching, and I can see that only a few of you have commented here. So let's dig in anyway. Gigi says, true and false. When your purpose in life is getting simple daily happiness, purpose and happiness aren't separate things, but merge into one. I mean, we call that hedonism, don't we? When our purpose is to make ourselves feel good. That's hedonism. I mean, let's face it, if your purpose in life was to feel happy, then you would spend 90% of the time drunk or high, right? But you don't do that. You don't do that. Because let's be honest, feeling drunk or high feels pretty damn good. Discount that, children. I'm just making an argument. I'm taking it to an extreme. Anyway, if you're listening in the car with your mum and dad, earmuffs. Vero's with us. How you doing, Vero? Good morning, beautiful bohemians around the universe and beyond. Friday. I am super late.
It's Friday!
Oh, yeah. Welcome, Vero. She says, true, happiness is not easy to reach. That's why people should try to enjoy the journey. Oof, that's great phrasing, isn't it? Quite often it's enjoying the journey. Right, that is the purpose. I mean, I had so many aspirations when I was a kid. Being young in an economically starved region of my country. I looked at. I remember listening to talk radio hosts and just thinking, wow, that's the greatest job in the world. Or more importantly, I think a lot of my heroes were stand-up comedians, Bill Hicks and people like that. And I remember the first time I tried stand-up, I was like, it was a real goal for me. The first time I tried stand-up, I thought, wow, we've done it. Even though my first time was an absolute miserable failure. Wow, I've done it. Then I wanted to be on TV, did it. Then I wanted to be, and then an undercurrent through underpinning all of that was wanting to be a radio host. I've done it. So what happens when purpose is complete? What then? What then? It's an interesting question, isn't it? Is that when happiness steps in? A pursuit of happiness and hedonism? Is that why so many rich people have so many psychological problems? It's an interesting question, I think. Anyway, let's continue. Bridge says, I believe they are both interrelated. Purpose will, for some, produce that happiness. That seems to be the reason you need to find your calling. Happiness is the ultimate goal. The way to it may be tough, maybe through following your purpose. In any case, I may have a unique purview here. My conviction as to the Spanish and the meaning of life is not conventional. Yeah, Bridge having been through some real health crises in her life. Artemisa says, I have a restless mind, so I can't really separate purpose from happiness. Having something meaningful to work towards is precisely what makes me happy. I think here's a point I'd like to make. I think the pursuit of happiness fundamentally misunderstands not the meaning of life, because that sounds unnecessarily egotistical, doesn't it? Like, I know what the meaning of life is. But look, imagine you attained it. Imagine every moment of your life was spent in bliss. How boring would that be? How boring. I lean on the philosopher Alan Watts, right? Alan Watts drew a comparison between music and life. And if life was always one note, one high note, you know what they call that in audio terms, right? They call that noise. It's the variations in tone and volume and pitch that makes music. It's the ups and downs. But to the same point, the point of purpose, and drawing that comparison to music, it's not the end goal that's important, is it? It's not the end goal that's important. Otherwise, the greatest musical compositions would just be the end of the composition. It would be a climax. Cha-ching! Every song would be 30 seconds long, and it would just be a crescendo. No, life is like music, and we need the ups and downs, but we can't forget to sing and dance along the way. Again, that's not me, that's Alan Watts. If you want more on him, tons of his material online. So what is the kernel of truth in all this? Well, let's go to some comments I received on Instagram as well. Theo, first time writing to us, Theo Bouchard, says, I agree, happiness comes and goes, but having something meaningful to work towards can carry you through difficult periods. Yeah. I mean, happiness to me seems like an unrealistic goal, because you're never going to be happy 100% of the time. And particularly, the things in life that give you purpose aren't going to make you happy 100% of the time, are they? And when happiness fades, we have to lean on meaning, don't we? Kimberly says, I'm not sure why we have to choose a lot, because, Kimberly. Welcome to the ProBoh Show. A life full of purpose, but completely devoid of happiness doesn't sound particularly healthy either. Well, I think the idea of having a purpose is that purpose will give you moments of happiness, right? I don't know. But that's the dichotomy here. I mean, obviously the truth hides in the nuance, doesn't it? In the shades of grey of this. Dusan says, chasing happiness directly seems like a losing game. Purpose gives you a reason to tolerate the parts of life that aren't enjoyable. And finally, Alba says, purpose matters, but it can become unhealthy too. People sometimes sacrifice everything for a career, because a cause or responsibility, and call it meaning. Yeah. I mean, look, some people derive an immense sense of purpose from their career, don't they? And I think purpose, I don't know. Do you derive purpose from your career? Or is it being needed, being wanted? I mean, we looked at the importance of community, right, earlier on in the week. Feeling needed, feeling like you're contributing. I mean, I think that's maybe a consequence of purpose, isn't it? Again, I mean, I know I poo-pooed Kimberly's comment there, but it's true. Do you really have to choose? Outside of the ProBoh Show's mandate, probably not. But a sharper focus on what happiness is and where we derive it, I think, is important. Because if we were to believe the pop psychology that we see creeping up on our on our Instagram feeds, the absolute most important thing is to recognize that you're a beautiful little angel and that, and your happiness is the most important thing in the world. But happiness is like a mirage on a highway, isn't it? And the more we focus on it, the less we enjoy the journey, I think. The less we enjoy the journey. And again, to quote Alan Watts, life is like music. It's not about a goal, it's about to remember to sing and dance while the music is playing. Let's see. Exactly, Rob says. The bridge. That is why we are here, to experience the polarity of good and bad. Oh, I love that bridge.
ProBoh approved.
Happiness and struggle. I've heard eternal bliss is boring. Yeah, imagine how boring that would be. Noise. Anyway, should we get to the results of the poll? I think we probably should. All right, let me just see what those results were. All right, so I made the statement that purpose, propósito, is more important than happiness for psychological well-being, bienestar psicológico. And you guys said 67% true. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Even though it's not so far removed from what our friends on Instagram said. Happiness makes life pleasant, doesn't it? It's like the sugar you might add to your coffee. Purpose can make it worth enduring, though, right? Those tough times, when there is no sugar or saccharin in the cupboard, and you drink your coffee a little bit bitter. It's the purpose that gives you that helps you carry on. But purpose shouldn't become, I think the conclusion we've come to is that purpose shouldn't become a sophisticated excuse for permanent misery. Any more than happiness should become a demand to feel good all the time. A psychologically rich life, and this is to echo what Bridge said here, a psychologically rich life probably needs both. But when the two temporarily conflict, like when that thing that gives your life purpose occasionally makes you miserable. When the two temporarily conflict, purpose may be what gives happiness somewhere meaningful to return to. But you know what Grandpa Bo would say about all that, right, friends? He'd say, Rob, that's just your opinion, and opinions, they're like buttholes. Everyone has one. They all stink, including mine. Let's move on to today's 100 Humans. Oh my God. It was a long walk to work today across snow-capped mountains and through river valleys, and on that walk I encountered 100 humans and I asked them all a question. Today's question was, excuse me, I have to do a little scrolling. A lot of you contributed today, my God. Name something that gives life purpose. Nombra algo que da sentido a la vida. Thank you to Juana Reo, Feno Kitty, Emily, Africa, Fran F. Perea, Ana Casan, Arancha Delgado, Ivan GP, Ivan Samro. Bueno, all of you, a ton of you, a metric ton of you interacted today, and I do appreciate that. Me lo ha dicho un pajarito, says the bridge, that happiness and struggle. I've heard that eternal bliss is boring. Yes, quite right. Anyway. So let's get into it. What do you think? What gives life purpose? Artemisa says, having children give life purpose. Just a cursory glance to my mobile phone and all the people that interacted. Rancha says agrees. So does Juan Arreo. Offspring says Juan Arreo. Children. Raising your kids says Anakasan as well. Yeah. Kids says Fenokiti. A lot of you say kids. Is kids there? Yes, it is. Well done. Children. Children is there. 19 of 100 humans said children. It's not the number one answer, but it is closely related to the number one answer. If you're thinking kids, zoom out, is what I'm saying. You get to the number one answer. Gigi Pons, Gigi says, career. Carrera profesional. Is career there? Yes, it is. Well done. I also see Con jumping into the chat, joining us from South Africa. How are you doing, Con? Welcome. A bunch of people. Even the bridge said having children. Helping others, says Gigi. Helping others. Ayudar a los demás. Is helping others there? Something that gives life purpose. Yes, it is. Well done. Helping others is there. It's the number 5 answer with 4 of 100 humans saying helping others gives life purpose. Da sentido a la vida. Let's see. Artemisa and Mike say family. Familia. Family. Is family there? Yes, it is. Well done. And friends. With 41 of 100 humans, that's the number one answer. Well done. All right. 2 more left to identify. Some great answers here. Personal growth, says Mike. Creating art, says BB. Finding... we'll get back to that, Bridge. Creating art and personal growth. Friends, says Artemisa. All great answers. But sadly, none of them are there. Let's take a look at Instagram. To serve others, says Juan Arreo, which kind of fits into helping others, doesn't it? That's a good answer. That was there. That was from Juan Arreo. Fenokiti says kids. Passion projects, says Emily, which would fall into creating art, like BB says. I do still love to create art, even though I haven't done it in a while. Helping others, passion projects. Family, says Fran Parea. Anna Kasan says raising your kids gives life purpose. Mia said helping others. Raj. Oh wait, there's one more that you haven't got. There's 2 you haven't got. Oh my god. 2 that you haven't got. All right. No, 3. Oh my god. Friends, there's 3. Well, let's go to the Bridge and BB on Instagram. Bridge said finding a life partner, and BB says love. Juan Arreo on Instagram also said love. Is love something that gives life purpose? Yes, it is. Well done. That's there. 15 of 100 humans said love. Oh, you guys are so beautiful. Hobbies, says Artemisa. Raw power, says Con. Building as many muscles as possible. Jeez, Con. Jeez, man. Come on. Artemisa says, for some people, faith gives life meaning or purpose. Is faith there? Yes, it is. 3 of 100 humans said faith. It's the number 6 answer. Okay, something that gives life purpose. Very broadly speaking, you will have a set of these that you want to achieve, right? That's the final answer here. Arancha Delgado on Instagram said, my son. Work, says Ivan GP. Ivan Samaroff also said love. You guys, so romantic, aren't you? It's so beautiful. I love that. I'm glad I haven't made you all too cynical in your lives. Yeah, love gives life meaning, doesn't it? finding it, attaining it, keeping it. Come on. Being part of a community, says Artemisa. BB has an answer here. By the way, BB on fire today, as is Gigi. All of you, actually. All right. BB says, goals. Metas. Goals. Is goals there? Yes, it is. Well done. Goals is there with 3 of 100 humans saying goals. Friends, it's a number 7 answer, and you have completed today's 100 humans. And guys, I think more to the point, this is a 5 out of 5 week, isn't it? Oh my God. Look at you on fire, shining like diamonds, stepping out of the mist. Victorious. 5 out of 5 this week, guys. Well done, well done. That happens very, very rarely. I think it's only happened once before. All right, shall we go through the list? Bridge says teeth here. How do teeth give life meaning? Especially worrying for me, given that half of mine are fake. Anyway, let's go through the list, shall we? So I asked 100 humans to name something that gives life meaning. Nombra algo que da sentido a la vida. In position number 7, we had goals. Well done, BB, for getting that one. Goals, 3 of 100 humans. In position number 6, we had faith. Faith. 3 of 100 humans said that one as well. In position number 5, we had helping others. Ayudar a los demás. Helping others with 4 of 100 humans. In position number 4, with 14 of 100 humans, big jump there, was carrera profesional. In position number 3, love. Oh, bless you, corn socks. Love was there with 15 of 100 humans. In position number 2, there. We had children. 19 of 100 humans said children. That's the second most popular answer. And finally, in position number 1, we had family. Well done. Familia. Children, of course. Hijos, love, of course. Amor. Guys, you did it. And that's it for me. For 4 days, I'll be back on Wednesday with the next live show with my partner in crime, Dan the Radio Man. Can I just say, I've had an absolutely phenomenal time broadcasting this show from the ProBoh Show studio. You guys are absolutely amazing. So many things you could have been doing this week. Instead of doing these things, you took the time to spend some time with me, and it means the world. See you next time.